Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Michelle Mayer podcast. I have to take my time to think about it. Like, am I going to say Bible study? Am I saying interpretation of the Psalms? Or what is this today? Super excited about coming forward today, y'all, with a thought provoking podcast conversation for you today. Let's get the business out of the way. If you find my content likable, if you find it relevant, if you look forward to hearing my perspectives, please subscribe, please click like, please share. If you find that my content or anything that you see on this page is worthy of your financial support, I ask that you please go to the YouTube page and you look within the information tab and you support us in whichever way you can. There's a GoFundMe link and there is a PayPal donation link. I am accepting all donations. I come forward every day with something to help inspire and educate. It takes time, it takes resources, and I can use all the assistance that I can get. Pay it forward; it'll come back to you, and not because it'll come back to you, but just because it's the right thing to do. It's a good thing to do. If God has been good to you and blessed you in your life, it is wonderful to be able to pay it forward. I have in my life found that giving. I was raised in a family. My dad instilled in me early. If my dad is watching, I love you. My dad instilled in me early that the fact that helping someone is one of the best things you can do. I learned that so early. I learned it in elementary school. I remember there was a little handicapped boy on my bus, and he used to like me to sit next to him. I went to a multicultural school in a little small town, and this wasn't elementary. Well, it was elementary. It was, yes, it was. And I went to Brookwood Elementary School in Glenwood, Illinois. And there's this little boy on the bus, and he had a Down syndrome, and I was sitting next to him, and he would just light up, and he was so nice, and everybody used to pick at him and say, "Oh, he's gross," or any kids are. And I just liked sitting next to him, and I would ride home every day with him. And sit next to him, and it would just make me so happy just to see him happy. So it's something that blesses you as well. It's a transference of energy, knowing you've helped someone, knowing you've been a blessing to somebody, just because, not because of anything outside of the fact that it's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? It's just it's what you were put here to do. It makes you feel good. So please, if you can, invest in this channel if you find it necessary. Okay, only if you find it necessary, because this channel is gonna be okay regardless. But if you find it necessary, go on and multiply your gifts, and I'll multiply it back. I'll keep the transference of energy going. Anything that I receive, I multiply. So I don't let things just sit. I multiply. Even if I'm lost and I'm confused and I might sit on it for a minute, eventually I'm going to get back up, and I'm going to get back in the habit of multiplying. So all donations are welcome. Super excited about coming forward today with a thought-provoking perspective. We're going to talk about Phonecia today, y'all. I love talking about historical references. I am a historical truth seeker, and we're going to talk about Phonecia and how Phonecia has impacted the world today. Before, let me see. I would like to put a little aquaphor on my lips, but I don't want people to be talking. Oh, last time I did a video when I was when I was doing a Bible study, I was doing a video, and I had put some aquaphor on my lips, and people in the comments were like, "Oh, why are you putting aquaphor on your lips?" Like, I don't know. Look. People add their own stuff that doesn't even have anything to do with spirituality to life. Life is already hard as it is. It's already hard trying to do things the way people want you to do them, and then live to your internal code, than to have people pouring on more of their judgments. You think God cares that I put some aquifer on my lips on this video? Do you think God is going to look at me any less than the child than his child that I am? Do you think even when I get dressed to do these videos, I'm like, okay, what should I wear? It's like, come on. You got to remember, originally we didn't have these clothes. All we did was walked around here naked. We walked around here butt naked for thousands of years. That is how we were created. We were supposed to do that. All of this putting a fig leaf over your groins and all of that is because of the sin. If we're really going to get down to it. So if me putting lip gloss on entices you in some way sexually, you need to do some work on yourselves. You need to look at yourself and say, why did that spirit of lust come over me? Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm not even drinking. I stopped drinking. I don't even drink. So can't blame it on that. No, but seriously, you want to ask yourself some questions. Instead of trying to portray your trauma off on me, I got enough of my trauma that I'm dealing with. I don't need no more. It's like, don't come over. Don't come over here. And don't get mad at me when I pick up my big mirror and I deflect it back on you. People get mad at that. When you say, they get furious at that. Oh, they can't stand that. Oh, that's the worst thing you can do is psh, goodness gracious. So no, I'm not doing anything for that. I'm out here trying to be the best I can be. Keep my head above water and lead with the power and the authority of the God that is within me. That's it. And leave you all with a thought-provoking word. All right, you guys. So we're gonna go forward. I just, these are my opinions. These are things that I go through, and this is a podcast, so I can and I will. We're gonna talk today, like I said, about Phonecia. Phonecia is extremely important in the history of the world. A lot of the things that we see, that we do every day, were because of the Phoenicians. And I want to, a lot of Christianity has to do with the Phoenicians. In fact, I'm willing to say, I'm going to go as far as Christianity as a whole. Israel, let's just say Israel, the nation, Israel, the kingdom, was spawned on because of the Phoenicians, friend. Oh, we're going to get into it today. The Phoenicians are extremely important. So when you think of the Phoenicians, you think of that coastal region, that whole coastal region of the Levant, of Canaan, Tyre, Byblos, all of the coastal cities. That is the Phoenician Empire. Not the entire coast, but a large portion of it is the Phoenician Empire. This is just the coast from where the water and the land meet. Within the region, that region lower, that I'm gonna get technology together, and I'm gonna be able to put like a map up and show you like a lot of these people do on social media. But right now, so that coastal region from Byblos to Tyre to I'm gonna look into it. Let me look. But anyway, that coastal region is Phonecia. And since this is a video, a podcast, I got time to do that. So here we go. So we got, I was going to say Sidon. So Sidon, Byblos, Tripoli, Tyre, all of these areas and more are Phoenicia. Okay, I'm not going to name them all because you probably won't know them. Most people don't know them. If you're a history buff like myself, you'll probably know them. Uh, you might not, because I don't even know them all by name. But that whole water seafaring area is Phoenicia. And the word Phoenicia was created by the Greeks to portray or to convey a color, the color purple. The reason why it conveys a color, more than likely, is because of a shellfish that resides in the waters, and they would get this shellfish, and they would take the dye out of it, and the dye would create this beautiful purple hue. So they were renowned for the color purple. The Phoenicians are renowned for the color purple. So who are the Phoenicians? They are a seafaring, trading people. The Phoenicians are extremely important in the sense that they mastered the art of networking. They are a seafaring people within the biblical region. That region lower than Megiddo, it's that coastal area in the Levant, which we consider Canaan, the region of Canaan, where the children of Israel would flourish. The children of Israel would come out of and then go into Egypt. All of this area is considered the entire book of the Bible. Most of it is based out of this region. Okay, so these people were master tradesmen. These are people that put other people in contact with one another. They were the first to take to the sea and master navigational routes. They would then go as far as creating relationships with people from faraway countries by way of the sea. They dominated in this. So I want you to remember, I want you to use your imagination and think back thousands of years to a time when nobody had boats. Then you have an area of people that have been able to master the ability to make boats and then to take to the sea. And they make these boats, they're surrounded by these tall cedar trees. Cedar is one of their main commodities. Cedar is really how they become extremely wealthy. It is said that even when Hiram came to build the Temple of Jerusalem with King Solomon, he had to pay him with 20 cities of Israel in exchange for the cedar trees that he gave him. This is why it was so important for David when he sat in his house of cedar. David's house, the city of David, all of these, the temple of Zion, all these things were made of cedar. And David is sitting there and he's saying, look at what God has done. I'm blessed and I'm sitting here in this house of cedar. He wasn't just sitting in a house of cedar. He was sitting in a house of different luxuries, but he made it a point to reference the cedar because of the spiritual component and because of its component as a particular type of wood. And he says, how can I sit up amongst this and God is sitting in the desert amidst curtains. Getting back, these same Phoenicians took to the sea by way of ships that they built from these trees. And they would go places that no one ever went. Remember, nobody they had boats. They had ways of getting somewhere short distances. But I'm talking about traveling from Africa to America. I mean, I'm not here to negate anybody and I'm not here to create any controversy. But if you think Christopher Columbus was the first person to ever come to America, you need to kind of like do some research again. You know what I mean? That theory was great for that time, But because we are in the age of information and light is being shined on different corners and areas where we didn't have reach and knowledge of, or we weren't able to get the information about, it's our job to expand our minds and to use our minds and research. Christopher Columbus wasn't the first person to come to America. And even though he did a miraculous thing in coming, he had people navigating his boat. He wasn't the only one on that boat. He had masters from these regions that had sailed the seas prior to him, navigating these things for him. He wouldn't have made it. Even though he was an ambassador of America. Do you know how many pirates were out? Do you know what a pirate is? Look, the sea has a whole nother law. It was scandalous on that sea, friend. It was scandalous. You have people that will pull up on the side of you in a boat and just jack you, like straight up. There was no electrical motor in a boat back then. You had to depend on the wind. And if the wind wasn't blowing and you got caught up in one of those areas where there wasn't a lot of movement of wind, you are a sitting duck. You better be able to fight. You better be able to get them up. Because it's on. You got, man, them pirates were scandalous. But anyway, nonetheless, the Phoenicians were the first to start all of this. They would go distance. They would go the distance. They made all of this popular. They made it all accessible. So because they were able to take to the seas and be the first people to come into contact with other people in distant lands, they had the trust of people. They had relationships with people. They were the first to begin the art of trading. You give me the peach leaf, I give you the pear leaf. You all have all of these different types of stones that we've never seen. I'll give me 1,000 pounds of these, and I'll give you the things that you don't have that you need, that I have in abundance. Next time I come back, I'm going to trade with you the things that you need. But first, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to become your friend. I'm going to learn you. And I'm going to learn all the things that you have that I might like, or that the neighboring countries that surround me may need. And then I'm going to sit with you and consult with you and find what you like. I'm going to tell you all the things that I have. I'm going to tell you all the relationships I have with the people that are surrounding me. And then I'm going to sell you on the concept of me being able to bring these things to you and trade with you. That was the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians were, I'm telling you, the Phoenicians have done a fantastic thing. But what also occurred with the Phoenicians is that as they progressed in years in doing this, others would come after them and they would do the same. They would see the technology of the ship, and they would buy these ships. So you're a Phoenician and you're off that coastline, and you're sailing around your area, and people around you are seeing, and they're like, darn, I wish I had one of those boats. And you find out how much it costs to buy one, and you end up buying one. And they teach you, and you pay for the class on how to take to the sea, and you pay for a Phoenician to ride with you to help you navigate the sea, and for you to become competent in your own right to take to the sea by yourself. You pay for all of this. This is what the Phoenicians were doing. So they were making money several ways. They were learning other people's techniques and things that they knew that their region, the people in their region, didn't know about. And they're coming back to their region, and they're using it, and they're uplifting their environment, and they're selling this information. The Phoenician coast, the Tyre, Sidon, Byblos, all these areas were independent of one another. It wasn't like it is here in America. It wasn't like, okay, Los Angeles, you got California, you got Nevada, you got Arizona, you have Utah, you know, all of these are cities under the are states under the United States of America. So they're independent, but they're not. In Phoenicia, all these cities were independent. So California would be its own country. It didn't have it didn't have a governing body governing it. Arizona, own country. Utah, own country, and they were ruled by their own king or queen. So they made their own decisions, but they acted as a federation. You know what I mean? They did fall under one main umbrella, but really they could do whatever they wanted to do, mostly independently to what any of the other city states were doing. The Phoenicians had gotten so well networked. I mean, Phoenicia was the main hub. This is, again, the hub right beneath, right where the land and water meet. We already know from the flood story that after the flood, the fallen ones did not die off, friend. So they're somehow stayed alive. Either they were on the boat, either they were in spirit form and did not have a vessel, or they were able to submerge within the water and live. Either way, they survived. And I'm betting on it was the water. I know many get upset when I say that, but it's just common sense. Because all of these seafaring areas pop up and much activity, much technology comes out of them. When you look at the Phoenician coastline, and you look at what monumental things they did with these boat building techniques, where did they get that technology? I mean, I'm sure prior to the flood, this is prior to the flood. So where did Adam and Eve get the technology to get on a boat from? Because they surely didn't have it when they were in the garden. They weren't on the boat. They weren't on boats. They weren't taken to the sea. They got it from the fallen ones. They got all of this technology came from the fallen ones. This color of this dress that you see me wearing is the technology of the fallen ones. That makeup you wear, the lipstick, the nails, the nail polish, all of it. Fallen ones. There's no condemnation in that. It is not. It's just the truth. You have the fallen angels that work on the side of uplifting and helping humans, and you got some that don't give a darn about you. That they don't care. They'll trip you up in a minute. It's nothing to them. Just as you do humans. You have humans that are loving and kind and generous and righteous. And you got some that are traumatized from things that they went through. That let their trauma lead them. And they don't care who they hurt. They don't care about anyone outside of themselves, even if they care about themselves. It's the same way with these fallen ones. So these fallen ones give the Phoenicians and the children in general, the people, information. They learn how to make these boats. I will support that. So this is uh, this is something. Oh, hold on, y'all. Which phone was it? Hold on. Okay. So this is a quote from the inscription of Ashurnasirpal II, which is an Assyrian individual. And he's speaking to his relationship with the Phoenicians and those on the coastline that the Phoenician dominates. So this coastal Phoenician region in Tyre is what he's speaking to. He's saying, at the time I made my way to the slopes of Mount Lebanon, and I went up to the great sea of the land Amuru. I cleansed my weapons in the great sea and made sacrifices to the gods. I received tribute from the kings of the seacoast, from the lands of the people of Tyre, Sidon, Byblos, Mahalatu, Maizu, Kaizu, Amuru, and the city of Arvad, which is on an island in the sea. Silver, gold, tins, bronze, and a large female monkey, a small female monkey, ebony, boxwood, ivory, and nahirus, which are sea creatures. They submitted to me. So what is he saying here? What exactly is he saying? He's in the region of Phoenicia. He's on land. He's walking the land, and he's walking amidst the cedars of Lebanon, and he's gone down to the coastal region. And all of these entities, whether on land or on sea, bowed to him and blessed him. I cleansed my weapons in the great sea and made sacrifices to the gods. I received tribute from the kings of the seacoast, from the lands of the people of Tyre, Sidon, Byblos, Malatu, Mezu, Kaizu, Amaru, and the city of Arval, which is on the island in the sea. Silver, gold, tin, bronze, a large female monkey, a small female monkey, ebony, boxwood, ivory, and nahirus, which are sea creatures. They submitted to me. He was blessed with all that he needed. But who could be blessing him with all these things? And who could be that wise to know what to bless him with? These things mean nothing to us nowadays. We don't even know the relevancy of these things. We don't even know what they are. What is the relevancy of having? We know what silver, gold, tin, and bronze is, the relevancy of that. But why a large female monkey and a small female monkey? What are nahirus? These sea creatures. And why is it so important that they submitted to him? Why would he go and sacrifice? Why would he cleanse his weapons in the great sea and make sacrifices to the gods? Why is it important that he received tribute from the kings of the seacoast? Tyre, Sidon, and Byblos. The first three he named. This is in direct reference to the wisdom of the fallen ones. He needed it. These fallen ones set the Phoenicians up. This is how they were established. Without the fallen ones, the Phoenicians would not have been who they are. They were the divine counsel. They were the people that were able to counsel them and to help them expand their network, expand their presence. Phoenicia was a major hub. That whole coastline, you could get, they had it on lock. They were the tradesmen. You couldn't get anything traded unless you went through the Phoenicians. Something that started off small as them hopping in that boat and just taking to the sea and being friends with people and making relationships with people. They didn't have to have anything. They didn't have to have any commodity. All they needed to know was their environment. All they needed to know was how to navigate those waters. And they needed to know how to make a boat. So when they pulled up on people in distant lands that had never seen such a thing, they were more than willing to welcome them because they wanted a boat too. They wanted to sit up and learn them as well. They took that and they said, how can we make this better for ourselves? We're traveling to all these places and we're not able to communicate effectively with these people because some of these people don't even have a language. They created the alphabet. They created the way we speak. They made it a universal thing. The Phoenicians set this whole thing up, yo. The Phoenicians. Much respect got to be given to the Phoenicians. All of your banking and all of your what you would consider a loan system. All of that is the Phoenicians. All of your building of cities, your thoroughfares, your seaports, Phoenicians. Master architects. Masters. Why are they so masterful? One, they had the wisdom of the fallen ones. Two, they had the ability to network with other people that were doing different things. If you sit amongst yourself your whole life, you will not gain wisdom. You won't. It is going out in life and moving around different people from different cultural backgrounds, from different life experiences, from different lifestyles, that you become extremely agile. This is the Phoenicians. It goes back to what I said. If you're around people that just agree with you, you'd be probably better off just sitting off by yourself. Because agreement doesn't do anything but weaken you. It's a big manipulation. I need for you not to agree with me. I don't care if you agree with me or not. You not agreeing with me makes me better. Not arguing with me, not disrespecting me, but just sharing your perspective with me and standing on it. I'm going to respect you for having enough wherewithal within yourself to stand on your judgments, to stand on your truths. If you're the type of person that comes upon me and then my truth, everything that I say and feel, you will change your truth to, I'm probably not going to want to hang out with you. No, I need for you to be you. Because you being you either fortifies me being me, or it allows me to see things, gaps within myself that I could strengthen just by me seeing you be you. This is what the Phoenicians were able to do. They took to the seas and they got to see all kinds of different things that they could either show more pride, that made them either show more pride in themselves and maybe bless someone else with, or that they were able to see as points of interest that they can improve upon, that made them better. that they went home and told their people of, and they allowed their whole collective community to become better by. Yet it is through the fallen ones that they gain such an ability. Do you think that just off on their own that they had the ability to create an alphabet? Do you? Do you believe off on their own just by sitting in front of the water that they created such monumental ships? Do you really? I don't believe that. I believe it was a partnership because these people learned partnerships early. The Phoenicians' success depended upon partnerships. 100%. They were the master networkers. They were the master negotiators. They were the people that were their strength was in partnerships. Their strength was in partnering. They didn't even have anything to barter. They just had a vehicle that was able to take them places that many people couldn't go. And they could see things. And they could come back and say, okay, they have that over there. I know people over here that have this. Let me go over here and tell them. Give me a couple of those of what they have, and I'm going to come back with something that they want. They didn't even have anything to barter with in the beginning. They just had relationships. And a vehicle that was able to get them in front of people that many people couldn't get in front of. As time passed, the relationships grew. People would begin looking forward to these people coming. They would. They kept their word. They would say, we'll come, we're going to be back next year. And when I come back, I'm going to have all that you're asking for. And those people would, and they say, okay, but when I come back, I'm going to need all of those mangoes, and I'm going to need all of those different types of crystals, and I'm going to need all of this, and I'm going to need all of that. And those people would be so excited that they would have the women, the men, and the children hunting and foraging to stock up so that when the Phoenicians came back, they would be ready. Because could you imagine not having a TV, not having a newspaper, not having a newsletter, and this foreign people come with these foreign items? And the joy it brings? So you know that they were ready when the Phoenicians came. And if the Phoenicians didn't keep their word, they would be disappointed. And because they kept their word, it fostered a relationship, an alliance. And throughout time, you come into positive people that you have positive interactions with, and in your sailings, you come into some nefarious characters. You come into contact with some very nefarious characters. And everybody could be used. Sometimes you need a goon. Sometimes you need an angel. And the Phoenicians knew all of them. Which leads me to the point. During these times, the Egyptian Empire, big time, at its apex. The Assyrians. What was that? Is that this? I wish I could find what device this Siri thing be speaking to, because I'm gonna disconnect it. But the Assyrians, formidable. Not as formidable as they're going to be in the future, but formidable. Well, let's just say, yeah, they were formidable. They were. The Hittites, formidable. And the Phoenicians really can't dominate the way that they normally would because of these three formidable opponents within their region. And they see this. And they say, okay, we take to the seas, we have these relationships, yet we come back home and we're constrained by these three dominant superpowers within our region. We got to conform to them and bend to them and all of this. Yet we know all these different people in far off lands in ways that they don't know. So we really don't need relationships locally, even though we do. But we could flip this whole thing up. If I bring in my boys from across the sea over there and have them come up in here. See, the Phoenicians knew their environment. They knew the might of the Egyptian army. They knew the might of the Assyrian army. They knew the might of the Hittites. And they knew the socio-political, socio-economic situation within the region. These are masters at learning their environment. These are masters at making relationships. So they say, how could we gain leverage? We could bring in such and such from across the sea. Have them come in and wage war. And that is exactly what happened. Now, I'm not saying that the Phoenicians had them come in. I don't know how that happened exactly, but I know that they came. The sea people came by way of the Phoenician coastline. And they traveled up the mountainous region and the land region and all of that and came and attacked. And when they came and attacked, they knocked back the Egyptians, they knocked back the Hittites, and they knocked back the Assyrians. Decimated them. Decimated the Hittites to the point that they didn't even leave a remnant of the Hittites. The Hittites done. They stomped the Hittites out. Done. Decimated them. And the only one that was left that went unscathed, the only group that went unscathed within the region of these powerful entities, because the Phoenicians is just as powerful. Remember, the Egyptians, the Hittites, the Assyrians, all of these people are depending on the Phoenicians to fuel the economy with the trade. They come in with all of these different things that can make Egypt as monumental as it is, and Assyria what it is. But the Assyrians were a war community. The Assyrians were not interested in expanding their borders. The Assyrians were making a name for themselves as a war community. So they were not the, for these sea people to come and to overpower the Assyrians showed the might of these sea people. And how could these sea people come and overtake the Assyrians without them even being prepared for them? Had they not had a mole internally within that region? And wouldn't the likely person be the Phoenicians? Wouldn't they? The Phoenicians would know the Assyrians quite well because they would have traded with them. They would have been under their thumb. They would have had some sort of situations with them. They would have heard rumors of the situations that the Assyrians had with all of those in the surrounding areas that they conquered. They're going to know how the Assyrians move because they're studying and they're right up under them. And they go and they tell these seafaring people and they make a deal. These are all hypotheticals. And they make a deal and they say, look, we come through our gates, come through our ports and enter up and wage war. And this is what has happened. And the Egyptians, the Hittites, and the Assyrians all knocked back. This was the fall of the Egyptian empire. This was the transference of power. The Egyptians fell. Hittites, Assyrians, all of them fell. And it made way for new kingdoms to sprout up. What are these new kingdoms? The kingdom of Israel, the kingdom of Judah, to name a few. The Moabites, all these little small communities pop up in the absence of the pillars, Egypt, the Assyrians, and the Hittites. Yet, the only other entity that's a pillar that went unbothered, untouched, were the Phoenicians. How is that if they didn't have their hand in it? How? I mean, even if the Phoenicians were a source that these sea people would need because of their master shipbuilding, by this time there's other people making ships. Many people have ships at this time. It was just that the Phoenicians got it early. They were the first to really do it, so they were able to create a dominance in that vertical. But they weren't the only ones. There were other people that would copy them. So why wouldn't these sea people attack the Phoenicians? These are sea people. If anybody they're going to attack, it probably would be the Phoenicians, wouldn't you think? To get a stronghold on the Navy, the Phoenician Navy. These are sea people. Why wouldn't they attack the Phoenicians and get all of their ships? Then they come and attack Egypt and the Hittites and the Assyrians. These are land-dwelling people. These are people that don't really get on. You don't hear about the Egyptians traveling by way of the sea like that. Or the Assyrians. Or the Hittites. Only the Phoenicians. It was the Phoenicians that traveled and traded with everybody. They traded from the southern portions of Africa to Sicily. I mean, these people were everywhere. Sardinia. But they could not have done any of what they did had they not helped from the fallen ones. None of it. They could not have done any of it had they not had help from the fallen ones. That text that I read to you was how all of these people were doing it. All of them. A lot of these gods that these people bowed to were gods of the water. They came from the coastline. All of it came from the coastline onto land. Even Noah. This new way that we're in now, all of it, this new world, because we're all descendants of the children of Noah, came from the coastline to the land. Everything that's populating this world. Yet the Phoenicians were the masters at taking to the sea and navigating these waters by help of the fallen ones who had the wisdom. So I need you to understand the exchange of power going on here. These fallen ones are bound here. I've said that already, okay? They can't leave here. This is not their domain. This is not where they spring forth from. This was a temporary endeavor that has turned into a long-term project. Now they're bound here. And They have the wisdom. So it's like being all know, not all knowing, but pretty much all knowing as it relates to the realm you're in. Not as it relates to the universal knowledge, the knowledge of the heavens and the knowledge of God. No. But the knowledge, all the knowledge you need to be a king and a God in the earth, these fallen ones have. You have nefarious ones that work iniquity. You have good ones that don't, that look to help mankind ascend. And they're all vying for the attention of the children. Because it is the light that is within each and every one of us that they need. It's like an energy source. So it's an exchange, or it should be an exchange. It started off as an exchange. To say, I will give you my wisdom to help you in life, and you give me your attention. That's how it started. And then it dwindled down to where we are now, where it's, you don't even know what you have in you to offer. You don't even know. So you're not offering nothing. You're not offering anything. You don't have any bargaining power in here because you don't feel like you got anything to bargain. Yet I require this of you. Or your talent, I'm going to camouflage your bargaining power as your talent. And I'll give you this for your talent, which is nowhere near what you should be getting. But you don't know that because you don't value your talent really. You don't really know the value that you bring. The Phoenicians knew. The Phoenicians knew so much that monumental things were done by the Phoenicians. Monumental. This whole structure is set up. All of the bargaining that we do, all of the networking that we do, all of the linguistics that we speak, the banking systems, the sea systems, the systems of travel, the systems of architecture, all of your Masonic systems. This is Phonecia. Phonecia. It's interesting. And I'm just scratching the surface of it. I'm not even giving you, a lot. I'm giving you something, but, because many of you probably never even heard of Phonecia. It is the Phoenicians that came and blessed David with the relationships he needed to become a mighty superpower, to have Israel become established. Without the Phoenicians, Israel would not have ever become a mighty kingdom. It is the move that Phoenicia made with the sea people that came and knocked down the kingdoms of Egypt and knocked down the Hittites and the Assyrians. That made way for the kingdom of Israel to sprout up. It was the Phoenicians. So it's legitimate to say that without the Phoenicians doing their legwork, there wouldn't have been an Israel. Phoenicia is the world superpower. They were the world superpower. Before the Assyrians haven't done anything monumental compared to what the Phoenicians done. Nothing. Nothing. All of what you look at in Washington, the layouts, the geometric layouts, all of the mathematics behind it, Phonecia. Europe, Phonecia. Mathematics, all of that, Phonecia. Phonecia. The Moors, Carthage, Hannibal, coming through triumphantly on elephants in the Alps, in the snow. The heart of that, God, don't give me, I'll go all day. The heart of it, father and son. Phonecia. Sure, we can get lost on Jezebel. Phonecia. You know, and as much as I want to talk about the Jezebels, every woman has a Jezebel in her. Every living woman got a Jezebel in her. Either she controls her or she allows the Jezebel to control her. It's one of the two. But every one, I don't care if you are the most devout Christian woman, you get put in a situation. I'm telling you. If you are the most devout Muslim, if you're the most devout spiritual, it don't matter. You let yourself get put in a situation. It is not that you act on a thing. It is the fact that you must acknowledge that the power that resides within you. Too much of anything ain't right. So all of you men out there that look at your daughters and say, "Oh, now she's a," or you look at other women and say, "Oh yeah, that's a Jezebel. I'm gonna teach my daughter not to be like that." No, that ain't how it works. It is a thing of balance. It is a thing of knowing righteous. It is a thing of knowing your role. The Jezebel spirit come upon you when you don't know your role. Just because Jezebel did what she did in Israel, that really, Jezebel couldn't have done anything had her husband not allowed it, had he known his role. But the people that Jezebel came from were a renowned and a mighty people. I can't lie to you. Mighty. Mighty. People that many of the world's greatest stories are written of. They just renamed them. This is my 4th podcast. Super excited about cross-referencing some material with people. So if you're interested in joining me on the podcast, I don't want to make this like about me just expounding upon things to you. I'd love to sit and maybe do a Zoom with any of you and virtually. So if you're interested in communicating and tossing around some perspectives, please comment or please message me on Facebook Messenger, or comment in the comment section below, either on Facebook or on any of the social apps that you find this content on, my YouTube page most importantly. And I would love to look at your pages or to commune with you and see if there's a match where we could actually have a very thought-provoking conversation to offer up on either my page, or I'll share it on your page as well. We're loved more than we'll ever know, you all. This was my content. This is one of many that I'll probably have on Phonecia, but this is just a surface level one um, on Phonecia and the brilliance that she has offered to the entire world, that she laid the foundation for, let's just say, and that many behind that came behind her picked up and copied and multiplied within the world. The best thing you can do in this life, friend, is offer up your unique offering and have someone else pick it up and multiply it. And then someone else come and pick it up and multiply it. That is what we were created to do. You love more than you'll ever know. Have a beautiful day. Peace and love.